What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, we have some very, very interesting news. As undefeated two-division world champion, superstar boxer, Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade, who is 31 wins, no losses, no draws, 19 wins by way of knockout, 34 years of age, 6 feet tall with a 74-inch arm reach. He will be going into a WBO, World Boxing Organization, title eliminator at super middleweight in his third division against Zach Parker, May 21st of this year. Zach Parker is undefeated, 22 wins, no losses, no draw, 16 wins by way of knockout, 27 years of age, 6 feet tall with a 74-inch arm reach. Okay, with that said, this is shockingly Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade's last fight with Matchroom CEO and promoter Eddie Hearn and DAZN. Okay, Demetrius Andrade fight with Zach Parker is not even going to be with Matchroom. It's actually going to be with Queensberry Promotions, Eddie Hearn's biggest rival, legendary British promoter and CEO, Frank Warren. Okay, he won the purse bid. So Frank Warren won the purse bid for this fight with Zach Parker, and now Eddie Hearn comes out and he states that Demetrius Andrade is not going to re-sign with him. Okay, he's done with Matchroom. He's done with Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn has failed to secure the biggest fights for Demetrius Andrade. Eddie Hearn, has promised Demetrius Andrade the biggest fights, and he has not been able to hold his end of the bargain. More importantly, Eddie Hearn has decided that he was going to side more with four-division world champion Mexican superstar boxer Saul Canelo Alvarez, who currently is the undisputed super middleweight, and the guy Demetrius Andrade is looking to secure a fight against, thus putting himself in position to be the WBO mandatory challenger for Canelo Alvarez's belt. Eddie Hearn is, sided with Canelo Alvarez. Okay, we saw Eddie Hearn with Canelo Alvarez after Canelo Alvarez fight with former WBO super middleweight world champion British superstar boxer Billy Joe Saunders, who he promotes Billy Joe Saunders. And Billy Joe Saunders wasn't happy at the way he was being pushed and promoted with Eddie Hearn. Okay, and so Billy Joe Saunders, he lost. We know Canelo Alvarez ended up stopping him. But after that, Demetrius Andrade and his dad, Paul Andrade, they had a spat with Canelo Alvarez. They crashed his post-fight press conference. And it went viral, but you can see Eddie Hearn, he's like, not now. He's telling Demetrius Andrade, not now, calm down, so on and so forth, okay? And so with that said, you can clearly see Demetrius Andrade, he was bothered by that. You're supposed to go to any length that you can possibly go when you Demetrius Andrade to get the biggest fights, especially seeing as though you're 34 years of age and these big fights have been eluding you, right? And so he's trying to secure the fight with Canelo Alvarez, and Eddie Hearn is saying, now is not the time. Now is not the time, okay? And, then Eddie Hearn, he's made it clear that he can't get the fights that Demetrius Andrade is looking to secure. And so, he's more than willing to allow Demetrius Andrade to walk, okay? And it seems like that's exactly what Demetrius Andrade is going to do. But what's even more shocking is that I'm hearing the possibilities of Demetrius Andrade possibly signing with PBC, Premier Boxing Champions founder and advisor Al Haymon, and the PBC, okay? Which would be the great move for Demetrius Andrade, because Demetrius Andrade has tried every other avenue but to go the route of the PBC, okay? And so the fights that he's looking for outside of the fight with himself and Canelo Alvarez is the fight with Jamal Charlo, possibly a fight with Jamel Charlo if he moves up, the fight with David Benavidez, okay, a fight with Caleb Plant. All of these fighters are with the PBC. So if Demetrius Andrade wants to make a name for himself and he wants to, get these legacy-defining fights and these massive paydays, well, this is the way to go, especially seeing as though you're 34 years of age. And now we're hearing that also a guy that's close to Demetrius Andrade, knows Demetrius Andrade very well, an undefeated three-division world champion, superstar boxer who's former junior welterweight undisputed, currently the WBO reigning welterweight world champion, and Terrence Bud Crawford could possibly sign a 2-fight deal to fight on the PBC as well. Okay, I think that that's the correct move for Demetrius Andrade. I think it's the correct move for Terrence Crawford. Okay, Terrence Crawford is looking to secure the big fights. Those guys, he needs the Errol Spence fight. That's the biggest fight in boxing. Well, what's Errol Spence with the PBC? He wants to fight with Keith Thurman. Well, where's Keith Thurman with the PBC? Okay, if you're Demetrius Andrade, outside of Canelo Alvarez and Triple G, what big fights are you looking for outside of the PBC? It just makes sense that Demetrius Andrade goes to the PBC, okay? And he's been out of his contract 2 separate times, okay? And he's tried every other option but the PBC, every other route but the PBC, and he was not successful, okay? And so now when you look at it from this standpoint, and you look at it and you say to yourself, okay, the big fights are there. I'm 34 years of age. Time is not on my side. What route should I go? Well, the PBC route would be the perfect route for Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade, right? And so his talent, his skill set, you know, now one thing would obviously be a talent, I'm sure, that the PBC would love to have. Now, what's interesting here is that, you know, they have a miscommunication, right? When he was signed to fight Jermell Charlo, according to Showtime president of sports, Stephen Espinosa, he stated that they were already signed to fight Jermell Charlo. He started the promotion for it, the build-up, the press for it, and he then pulled out just 12 days before the fight. Now, obviously, Jermell Charlo's with the PBC. Stephen Espinosa has exclusive deals with the PBC. And so when you look at it from that standpoint, right, you got to say to yourself, is that something that will hinder him from signing there? What else route is he going to go? Is he going to sign with Frank Warren, Queensberry Promotions? Is he going to sign with Top Rank, Bob Arum? What fighters do they have there? Okay, there is the Genovic fight, but outside of that, Genovic is not a big name. Demetrius Andrade at 34, you want the Jermall Charlo fight. You want the David Benavidez fight. Possibly fight both, Jermell and Jermall Charlo. Jermell Charlo's going into a massive undisputed showdown with Brian Castano, a rematch of their first fight, you know, in May as well, a week before Demetrius Andrade fights. He fights May 21st. They fight May 14th. So a week before their fight, right? You want these fights, okay? These are the fights. Possibly Jermell Charlo moves up, right? He moves up. Those are fights that you're looking to secure, okay? You want to secure the absolutely biggest fights you could possibly secure. And that would be the right move, in my opinion, for Demetrius Andrade and for Terrence Crawford. They're both 34 years of age. Time is not on their side. They're up against the clock. If you want these massive fights, you got to put yourself in position. You got to play chess, not checkers. You got to put yourself in position to get these big fights. He attempted to do that with the Zone, Eddie Hearn, and Matchroom, to get the Triple G and Canelo fights, and it didn't happen. Why? Because first, for one, those level of fighters, right, essentially call their own shots. Triple G is late in the stage of his career. He only wants the trilogy with Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez, he's telling he's telling Demetrius Andrade to fight somebody. Well, imagine if Demetrius Andrade was to be able to get the fight with Jermall Charlo, beat Jermall Charlo, get the fight with David Benavidez, beat David Benavidez. Well, there's no reason for Canelo Alvarez, no rhyme or reason for him to, make a case that he don't fight Demetrius Andrade. Okay, he would have to fight Demetrius Andrade at that point in time. Okay, so there's no way he can justify not fighting Demetrius Andrade if Demetrius Andrade have those levels of fights. So it just makes sense, for Demetrius Andrade to go that route, and unless he's going to go the route of Top Rank. But again, that's going to put him in a box where he's not going to be able to secure the big fights. And if at this stage of his career, if he goes solo, right, and try to do fight-by-fight basis, how many people are going to pick it up? So I believe that this is the perfect route for Demetrius Andrade to attempt to secure the fight with Jermall Charlo, with David Benavidez, with Caleb Plant, maybe Erislandy Lara. There's big fights that he could make over there with the PBC. So I believe that that's the correct route, and as well as Terrence Crawford. So let's see how this unfolds and plays out. Let's see if the bridge is all the way burned to the point where they can't repair it with the situation between him and Jermell Charlo. His side is saying one thing, their side is saying one thing. Let's see if they could come to a resolution. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button, drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all in one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.